Close your eyes.
The games you and I play come preloaded with a demand that we experience the world the programmers have created with a very particular set of assumptions. That is to say that games want gamers to see their world through a particular set of eyes. They want to give you a particular worldview. But what is a worldview anyway? Welcome to The Preacher Played. This is a brief introduction to worldview. It was Plato who said, "Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder." How do you intrinsically determine what is beautiful? How do you know what knowledge is? And how do you determine what the goal of the good life is? In his 1790 work, Critique of Judgment, German philosopher Immanuel Kant was casting about for a way to describe and designate the substantial concepts of how, often separate from the formal thought process, you understand the primary fabric of reality around you from the basic assumptions of what is ultimately real and our internally consistent understanding of what knowledge is, how knowledge is gained, and what is good, what is reasonable, what is beautiful, and what the quest for life involves. He settled on the word Weltanschauung, world perception. It was brought into English as worldview. Theologian Millard Erickson defined worldview simply as a broad conceptual synthesis that forms one's perspective on the whole of reality. I would add that most people gain their worldview entirely passively. It develops in you from your own experiences with your social and physical environment. In varying but somewhat predictable degrees, your own personal worldview comes from your family, your peers, your religion, your culture, and as you age, your own varied assignments of importance to the foundational principles of each of these. Your worldview is not final, but flexible, and with effort, discernible, but it is very difficult to perceive without help. Since worldview is the stack of loaded assumptions you have about reality as it exists, it impacts everything you think, feel, and believe, including what it is to be human, your religious perceptions, and even the nature of knowing and how we know anything. That's epistemology. Not to mention the identification of right and wrong and purpose. Your worldview informs everything you do, even how you perceive it. Determining your own personal worldview isn't easy because you are using your worldview to think about it. Viewing your own worldview is like trying to look at your own eyeball. It's not impossible. It just takes the right tools and a fair amount of introspection. With practice, though, you can start to discern the basic assumptions other people have underlying the things they do and say. That is to say, you can begin to understand the worldview of others, and that will begin to give you an understanding of your own. Understanding worldview is really a major key to understanding why people do what they do and why you do what you do. This matters because everybody has a worldview. And here's the thing, they always live according to it. Most of the time, people live out their worldview completely unaware of its contours and how their basic assumptions interpret everything they encounter in life, almost like living on autopilot. The way you were raised, the culture or cultures you experience, your friends, your family, or the lack thereof, and so much more make up who you are. All of this taught you how to look at life. Again, think of your worldview as your eyes. You use them to perceive the world. When you load up a video game, the game authors are giving you a new set of eyes. Every game comes with its own set of assumptions. Some of them are right out front and fully self-aware, such as Kojima's Death Stranding. The story is told to you somewhat clearly, and the fuzzy bits are easier to figure out in time. Dark Souls, not so much. The story there is told in fragmented item descriptions and decaying edifices. While both games rely upon your actual non-digital worldview, that this is a game and you should play it, both games, and so many like them, involve a main character who views the world a certain way, and in time, they teach you what that is. Killing hollows is free of moral judgment because, after all, they're undead and everything resets anyway. Hiking across the country with a load on your back is worth it to rescue your sister. The chosen undead, the porter, and the puppet all view the world through different eyes and make decisions with your help based either upon what motivates you or what you think will motivate your character. That is worldview in action. For example, I don't lie, and I take it rather personally. But getting the most out of Lies of P means I take on that persona. Personally, I would never kill someone for a few coins, or for many. But put me on a mystical horned horse in Elden Ring, and I'll wipe out the entire Albinauric clan with nary a concern. That is worldview in action. In the game, you become exactly what the developers want you to become as you take on the worldview they have created for you. Even Honest Abe would lie to get into Hotel Krat. The next time you fire up a game and begin the tutorial area, take just a moment to marvel at how the devs have taught you to live in a world so unlike your own by taking on the worldview of a character who, in some bizarre way, belongs in that world. Then, go ahead, take a walk in their shoes and see the world through their eyes with your own eyes wide open. Thank you for joining me as I take this brief look at the concepts and ideas in video games, which sometimes intersect and sometimes collide with our own. I'm going to be exploring the intersection of worldview, comparative theology, and video games. I would love to have you along for the ride. If you'd like to delve into more topics like these, I hope you'll both like and subscribe, as I've got more journeys planned in the future. Thanks for playing. I'm the Preacher, and I hope to see you the next time.